Hi there, I'm Dave Mack from presentationblogger.com. Today I've got a very special post for you. I want to talk to you today about 7 outrageously simple things you can do right now to improve your public speaking skills. And I'm going to get straight into it, and I'm going to keep it as simple and straightforward as possible for you so you can implement these things straight away. So, Firstly, we have on the list, stop trying to be perfect. Okay, there's this feeling that people have that they need to do everything perfectly, that every single thing about their presentation needs to be exact, needs to go off without a hitch. The slides need to be mirroring exactly what you're saying at exactly the right times. Impact needs to be there, and all these kind of things. If we make a mistake, we're going to go to pieces. Okay, now, of course, things like impact are important, and the slides are important, the way you deliver is important, and how everything hangs together is important. But here's the thing, everyone makes mistakes. Everyone slips up sometimes, right? Even the best presenters, the best public speakers make errors here and there. And it's not making the errors that's the problem, it's not making the mistakes that's the issue, it's how you deal with those mistakes. Okay? So if you can just laugh it off, if you can engage with the audience when something happens, you can kind of go, oh, whoops, didn't mean to say that, here's what I really meant to say. It's okay. Okay? So stop trying to be perfect. Accept the fact that you will make mistakes, and everything suddenly becomes a lot easier. Okay, so that's number 1. Stop trying to be perfect. Okay. Number 2, I'm just going to check my notes here. Number 2 is forget your slides. Okay, you're going to spend a lot of time trying to create the perfect slides, researching on slide design websites, reading books, getting the best advice possible on creating your slides. However, that's a lot of wasted time for you. Okay, now having great slides is important. Having slides that can give impact to your presentation is important as well. However, your time is much better spent, especially in a normal business presentation, your time is much better spent actually thinking about your audience, what you're going to say, and how you're going to keep your audience's attention. If you focus a lot on creating the slides, if you get some good slides, that's great. But just remember one thing, your audience is not going to be engaged by great slides. Your audience is going to be engaged by you, and only you. So it's much better time spent to focus on how you can improve your own presentation skills, to focus on practicing, to focus on having a more conversational tone with your audience, than it is to be tapping away at your PowerPoint or your keynote and trying to make great slides. Okay, so that's number 2, forget your slides. Okay, number 3, start your presentation with an open body position. Okay, don't start your presentation with your arms folded, or your hands on your hips, or your hands folded in across your lap, something like that. Start your presentation with an open body position. You don't have to stay like this. You don't have to have an open body position the whole time, but starting that way projects a level of confidence to the audience which will make them feel comfortable. If you can start with an open body position, you can project that confidence. The audience is more likely to engage with you, not only at the beginning of your presentation, but throughout. They're also going to be a lot more forgiving when you do have those slip-ups. Okay, so number 3 is start with an open body position. Okay, and number 4 is know how you're going to open your speech. Okay, very important. Know how you're going to open your speech. A lot of the stress that we feel before we go on stage and at the first few minutes of being on stage is think about, what am I going to say? What do I need to say now? Oh, this is so stressful. So instead of focusing this way, focus just on the first thing you need to say when you get on stage. The first thing you need to say before you're going to pause for a moment and wait for a reaction from the audience. Okay, so it might be first line, it might be a question, it might be something to set the tone for what you're about to tell them. Okay, but it needs to be the focus just for you needs to be on that first point that you need to say to the audience. Okay, so today I'm going to show you how you're going to save 30 minutes of your time. Okay, something as simple as that, and then you can wait for a reaction from the audience. Or you stand on stage and you say, you know what, I feel the same way as you. I feel like we're wasting our time day to day doing the Benson reports. Okay, something like that. You know that everyone dislikes doing those reports, so you can wait for a reaction. Instantly you've built a connection with the audience. Okay, so number 4 is know the first thing you're going to say to the audience. Remove that stress. Know the first thing you're going to say to them. Okay, and number 5 is to repeat your main message regularly. If you need the audience to take some action after your presentation, you need to constantly be driving towards that. And one way to drive towards that is to be like a politician. And now, there are not many, if any, good politicians, but one thing that politicians do really well is they continue to repeat the same message over and over again. And when you repeat the same message over and over again, people start to take that on board. People start to see that as truth. People start to see that as what they need to do or what they need to listen to, or almost fact. Okay, so it's very important to always continue to come back to your main point, come back to your main message, and reinforce that regularly throughout your speech. Okay, so number 5 is to remember to repeat your key message regularly throughout your speech, throughout your presentation. Okay, so number 6, we want to focus on quality, not quantity. Okay, and to focus on quality instead of quantity means forget these arbitrary time limits. Okay, so perhaps your boss tells you have to speak for 15 minutes. Okay, now that means that you're going to spend a lot of time thinking about how to fill those 15 minutes. And that's not a good way to design a presentation. That's not a good way to think about how you're going to do your speech, because that's like thinking about meeting an arbitrary word limit for your essay. Okay, what's going to happen is you're going to put a lot of filler words in there. A sentence that you could normally say in 3 words is suddenly going to be stretched out to 10. Okay, and the same thing happens in your presentation. If you focus on, I need to speak for 15 minutes, then something you could have said quite comfortably and really well in 10 minutes suddenly becomes a lot of filler that stretches out to 15 minutes. Okay, so don't focus on the time limit, focus on the quality of your presentation. Focus on quality instead of quantity. Focus on just getting the message across, saying exactly what you need to say. Okay, so point number 6 was focus on quality, not quantity. Okay, and finally, number 7, slow down. One of the biggest issues I find with people who are presenting for the first time, they're in a rush to get off stage. They're in a rush to get everything out. They're in a rush to get the audience to just hear their message and finish. Okay? And that's a problem, because when you're rushing, when you're trying to get the message out to everybody really, really quickly, then you appear much more nervous than you really are. Okay? So when you do your speech, when you deliver your presentation, focus on speaking slowly. Focus on pausing. Focus on waiting for the audience to react to something that you've said. Focus instead on speaking at one particular speed the whole time, and okay, I'm nearly there, I'm at point 2 now, I just need to get through point 3, I just need to do my conclusion. Instead, focus on saying things in a way that you can emphasize what you're saying, and you can allow the audience to absorb what you're saying. If you speak slowly and you pause often, the audience can really take in what you're saying. It allows you to repeat your message more often, because it doesn't sound repetitive if you're not saying it really quickly. And it focuses on how you can, it allows you to really emphasize how you're saying things. When you speak fast, it's very hard to put inflection into your voice. It's really hard to get people to focus on what the important information is, which we do through emphasizing our words. So, number 7, slow down and pause for the audience. Allow them to absorb your message. Okay, so just to summarize, we've got number 1, stop trying to be perfect. Number 2, forget your slides. Number 3, start with an open body position. Number 4, repeat your main message often throughout your presentation. Number 5, I'm not counting very well. Sorry, number 5, let's go back. Know exactly how you're going to open your speech. Number 6, focus on quality, not quantity. Stop thinking about arbitrary time limits. And finally, number 7, slow down and pause often. Thank you very much. I hope those tips are helpful for you. I'm Dave Mack. Please subscribe to my channel and please visit me at presentationblogger.com. Thanks a lot. See you.